Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to episode number 3. This is our first nutrition episode. Woo!
Woo!
First of all, we're not doctors. We're not nutrition experts. We just we're going to talk about what works for us, what we see working for other people, and what we believe is the right way. First of all, we like to eat food. What we eat is probably different than what you eat, but what she eats is different than what I eat. So a big part is matching your food, matching your diet with your goals and with your exercise. So what I eat is a lot because I eat for performance, which means I probably eat more carbs and fats than you do. But I don't really focus on percentages of this and percentages of that because that's not what I like to do. And I'm not knocking people that do that because it works. What you eat is what you're going to weigh, ultimately. That makes sense to a point. What we believe and what we focus on is quality of food first. Make sure you're eating good food. Make sure you're eating food that's high in nutrients, that's high in fiber, that's minimally processed and going to sustain you for a longer period of time. Cher's eating a lot of fat at this point in her life. How is that for you?
I have good days and bad days.
Yeah. So she's doing the keto diet. You can talk to her more about it. She's happy with it to a point. Mm-hmm. Frustrated with it to a point. I mean, understandably, she's not eating any carbs.
Or sugar.
And she really likes sugar.
I really like sugar.
Specifically chocolate.
Yes. Lots of it.
But you've been good. I mean, it's been an experiment. You've been successful a fact. I mean, you're not perfectly happy with it, but I feel like your goals are pretty severe.
You gotta have goals. I gotta have severe goals, I need goals. I need good goals like that. Okay. You think they're unrealistic goals?
No.
Okay, exactly.
Cher wants to look like a model and deadlift like a power lifter.
Right, and not look like a power lifter.
And look like a model.
Like a figure model. More precisely, not like a skinny model. Figure model.
So that's a little bit where Cher's at. I like to eat a lot of good food. We can talk about what I eat specifically at any time because I love talking about food. But we're just going to talk about our views of nutrition in general for now because this video could be a half hour long easily. And this is our first episode on nutrition, so if people like it, if they like certain parts about it, we can make more about other things nutrition related. So, starting in broad terms, we like to eat a lot of real food. So that means that we cook a lot. Or specifically, I cook a lot.
Yes. Completely accurate.
So I cook breakfast every day and have for the past 3 years that I've really been caring about nutrition. And that's hard for a lot of people to do and understand and put into action. But I seriously believe that that's part of my success is I wake up every day and make bacon and eggs and oatmeal. That's my beginning of my day. Cher was doing that too before she did keto, and now hers is a little different. She gets up, but she still drinks a coffee with oil and butter and sometimes chocolate in there.
Cocoa butter, not chocolate.
So that's kind of the biggest thing for me is eat breakfast. And anybody who knows me, I've probably told you to eat eggs before because I just think eggs are important. And then from there, lunch is usually what I had for dinner the night before, leftovers, because that way I'm not eating ham sandwiches and more processed food that isn't as good for me. Dinners, a lot of variation is good. I think as many different colored vegetables as you can eat is good. I think meat is good. I wish I could eat grass-fed meat, but I just can't afford it because I eat a lot of meat.
Mm-hmm.
Cher's not eating as much meat now. She's, doing the keto thing. So I know everyone doesn't eat a lot of meat, but it's a good way to get protein. There's decent fats. We do a lot of turkey burger, chicken breasts, of course, chicken thighs, all sorts of chicken. I eat red meat probably twice a week, you'd say.
Maybe, yeah.
It varies. It really
Not
does.
often.
But in general, I eat a lot of meat at night and then carbs and vegetables. It's simple stuff. But putting it into action is tough because life is crazy and you really just have to be adamant about, this is what I want to eat. Pretty much people know what they should eat. They just don't know how to cook it so that they like it, or people around them don't want to eat it, so
That's the hardest part, I would say.
they don't eat it. A hard skill to learn is saying no. So like if you're have people over or you're out somewhere and everyone's like, "Oh, let's eat pizza." It's hard to say no, thank you. I don't want pizza right now. And pizza isn't the worst food in the world, but I just don't like how it's socially acceptable and so easily to get, and it's America. And that's what's wrong with America. So I don't like pizza.
Strong statement, but I don't think Jared and I have ever eaten pizza in the entire time that I've been in a relationship with him. So if that tells you something, he's not lying.
How does that make you feel?
That I haven't been able to eat pizza. I don't miss it as much as I miss chocolate.
Fair.
I can give or take that.
I eat chocolate occasionally, usually dark chocolate, and not every day or every week, but when I feel like it. Which leads me to another point is it doesn't have to be a perfect diet. The best diet is a diet that you stick to, and consistency is the key. If you can consistently eat decent food, you're going to feel better, you're going to have more energy, you're going to exercise better, and you're just going to be mentally stable. There's a direct correlation to gut health and inflammation and your brain activity. And once you figure that out, then it becomes a lot easier, and you can just eat vegetables, because I don't know what the chemical makeup is that directly affects your body systems, but I know that dark green vegetables are good for you and red vegetables are good for you. I don't know specifically why, but if you can incorporate different colored vegetables, you're going to be smarter.
Quality.
But it's not a science, and that's what I try to tell people is you can be as smart as you want, but if you don't put it into action, or you don't care to put it into action, then it's worthless. Moving on. So like we said, first thing that I believe anyone should do is worry about the quality of their food. So as long as you can start eating good quality food, then do that consistently and see how your body reacts. If you're not happy with where you're at that point, then you can look at the quantity of food that you're eating. So try to go off a feel at first. If you just, can start eating vegetables in every meal, or you can start eating less sugar and junk food, and, that stuff obviously isn't going to help you achieve your goals. Once you start worrying about quality, then quantity isn't as important. So yeah, you're going to have to cook your food, but then you're going to have better food to eat for meals and snacks, and you won't have to eat as much. So it's more satisfying. You can sustain yourself for longer because you're going to have better quality carbs. You're going to have more nutrients in your body. Your body's not going to be as hungry once you satisfy those cravings for nutrients that come from vegetables and fats and carbs. So the key is to be consistent, like we said, and then you can change variables once you've achieved a sort of steady balance in your life. So what I mean by that is, if you can be consistent in your diet for, say, a month or 2 months, then you can start changing maybe I want to take out gluten and see how that affects me, or maybe I want to take out dairy and see how that affects me. If you do it all at once, it's hard to tell, what's really making the change. So it's a controlled experiment on your body, and the variables are food. Once you realize that, then it becomes easier. You do the same thing with supplements. I always suggest, adding one supplement at a time in a very controlled way, and then stay on that supplement for a month. This goes for fish oil, pretty much I would suggest for anyone to take because it's just good for you. But, the proteins, the creatines, anything that, aminos, anything that you're interested in, take it in a controlled way for a month and see if that affects you. But that's down the road. So a time frame to think about is just eat real food 3 times a day for 6 months. See how that affects you. See if you can just clean up your diet better and better and better. And maybe that's 6 months. Maybe you'll hit your goal, or you'll be well on your way to your goal weight. And that's all you have to change is just eating real food. Mm-hmm. If that doesn't get you there, if your goal is to gain 20 pounds of muscle, that might take a year. So after your 6 months of eating, then you might have to add a protein, and then, do that for 3-6 months. And then, so it's a long process, but you have to be controlled in it. So it goes back to consistency, and that's what is the key. So I feel like one of the keys to my success is bacon and eggs every morning. And as much as it is the nutrients that I need, it's the schedule, it's the routine, and it gets me moving in a good direction every day. Do you have anything to add on consistency or routine?
No, I just thought that was a really good comment to make when you were talking about like establishing that and just sticking with it throughout the time. Like, a lot of people just like supplement, like, they'll come to me and they'll be like, well, what kind of protein should I take? Or what supplements are you taking? And it's not about that. It's really about, like, as you mentioned, like establishing a ground, like a base level for your nutrition. Because a lot of times people have a lot of gaps in their nutrition and they're just not aware of it. And that's really what's creating those like cravings or like things like that. It's just nutrition deficiency. So you really just need to get your nutrition up and just worry about, as Jared said, like your whole foods and making sure that the quality is there.
I heard recently on a podcast, and a lot of this stuff I learned through podcasts and researching and just listening to smarter people than me talk. They said that most Americans are walking around in a nutrition deficiency, mm-hmm. in like subclinical deficiencies, which means they just aren't eating enough vitamins and minerals. Mm-hmm. And that screws up your whole body in ways that I couldn't explain to you. But once you take care of those things, then your body starts to normalize, and then you can start functioning better, and you feel better, and you look better, and your body doesn't start holding unnecessary weight. And there's just a whole list of things that come along with that. So part of what we do is education, but mostly it's just accountability. People know, I should eat chicken and broccoli today. But once you start talking to someone about it, and even to your friends, just talk about, let's talk about what we ate this week. Make that like a Friday thing or a Saturday thing. Or if you have good friends that you see once a week, make it a game. Like, just talk about, hey, like, let's talk about the worst things we ate this week. And yeah, it's funny probably, but at least then you're having the conversation with people.
But I think also tying it into, like, what's it going to do for you? Because everybody knows, like, chicken and broccoli is good for me. Right? Like, they know deep down, like, what's good, but it's, like, relating that to your goal. Like, well, after I eat chicken and broccoli for a week, like, how do I feel in the gym? Like, how do I feel throughout the day? Like, where's my energy level at? Like, tracking that progress is the only thing that's going to keep you in line, because you know that chicken and broccoli is good at the end of the day, but being able to see those results is actually what I know, for me, keeps me strict on my diet. Is just the fact that I see those results in and day out, and I see that progress that I make. Maybe it's not to the level that I expect it, but it's definitely, I might have unrealistic expectations of myself, who knows. That's a different issue. But like, just making sure that I'm staying focused as to the progress that I'm making.
Yeah, that's good. Like we said about chicken and broccoli, it just made me think about a couple people that we're talking to I found out that people don't like to eat as much as I do, apparently. And you might have to eat more carbs than you're eating, mm-hmm. to be working out on a regular basis.
Right.
And that's a hard thing to learn. It's not just, I've had the conversation with probably 4 or 5 people recently, and just, ask them what they're eating. And it turns out that they're not eating hardly any carbs.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me sad because you can have a whole lot more energy and you're probably a lot more, I want to say grumpy than you could be if you just give your body
The fuel.
what it needs in that fuel. So that being said, tracking is a big part of diet. I mean, you do want to track. I always suggest track for 3 or 4 days of like your general diet and just see where you're at normally so that you know, oh, this feels like I have a ton of carbs, or this is what I feel like when I don't eat enough carbs. And then you kind of get an idea of where you're at. I like to, we'll save that for another day. Anything else you can think about for now?
No, I think you got your point across on just worrying about nutrients, making sure you're getting more nutrients.
And that's the biggest thing. I like to start slow too and just learn this as a skill. It's like working out. You know how you learn a progression for pull-ups. There's a different scale for everyone. Well, it's the same with nutrition. You don't just want to come out the gate if you're eating McDonald's 6 days a week and just go straight to chicken and broccoli and rice one day, and the next day turkey burgers, and then the next day steak and potatoes. It's going to be hard. I mean, there's a learning curve. There's an adjustment period for your body. You need to do these things slowly. So some things that you can do just to get a start is read the ingredients on everything you eat.
That's what I was just going to say.
That's so good.
I was going to say, like, top 5 things that I look at on nutrient, or, like, on the back of food labels.
That's a good one. Go ahead.
Yeah, so no enriched flours, I think, is the biggest thing. Like, everybody's like, oh, enriched flour. Like, that's just flour enriched with nutrients. But I tell this to everyone. What they do is they strip that flour of nutrients, and then they spray it back on chemically. So you're eating fake nutrients. So anything that says enriched flour is not good for you. So that's my number 1 rule. I try to stay away from that. Anything that's a fake sugar. So a lot of people, if you see, like, any type of, stevia, erythritol, what are the other ones? I mean, they put a ton of fake sugar in everything. So even if there's not sugar, there's some sort of fake sugar in there.
Yeah,
so
that's a big one.
Just try to eliminate the amount of sugar you're getting. Sodium is another, hidden thing that a lot of people don't talk about, but you're only supposed to be getting 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day. And in America's diet, everybody's getting over that. And so you should definitely be watching that. And then also corn, a lot of corn fillers. There's a lot of corn added in everything. I noticed that, when I first started, I was like, oh, sweet potato chips. I turn over the label and the first ingredient is corn. And I'm like, how could they call this a
Always
sweet potato
corn.
chip if it's just corn? So corn is a very cheap filler and it's not nutrient beneficial for you. I mean, it might
it's
be
not terrible, but
it's good for fiber, but it doesn't have any type of substance to it. I mean, so it's not really it's definitely something that I try to stay away from.
It's better of some evil. I mean, I'd rather see corn chips than Lay's, but
right. But
does Lay's make corn? I don't know. Anyway.
But those are the top 3 things that I look at.
Yeah, and we'll go into more detail with these things definitely, as far as what nutrients are good. We're throwing a ton of information at you, but just read the nutrient label and you'll start to see these things don't sound good. You know that this isn't good, and the more simple the ingredients, usually the better. Some other things, write down everything you eat, even if you don't track the amount, the quantity. Just writing down, the practice of writing down everything you eat makes you think about it, and then it's more
creates the awareness.
It creates a gap in seafood, eat food. Rather, if you can create space there, even cooking creates a gap between I'm going to eat this, and then it takes me this long to cook it.
Maybe that's why I don't like cooking.
And then I eat it.
I just realized that. That's probably why I don't like cooking, because I don't like that gap between seafood and eating food. When I come home, there's food. Oh, they made food. That's wonderful.
Cher's famous thing is I'm making dinner and she's eating snacks.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'm like, but I'm making dinner. She's like, but I need a snack first. So what I was saying is...
Snacks are great.
Snacks are wonderful. That's what I was saying. Create a gap between thinking about eating and eating so that you make better choices. It's the instinctiveness in us that's just hungry and I'm just going to grab something. Other ways you can buffer against that are having food prepared, pre-packaged good snacks that you packaged yourself. You get the point. Other things you can do are eat slowly. I know it's hard to like physically eat slowly, but one practice you can do is timing yourself. So if you time yourself when you're eating, I know it sounds weird, but like just look at your clock and be like, oh, I usually eat in like 3.5 minutes. Stretch it out, make it 6.5 minutes, double it.
I actually heard that you're
Maybe
supposed to
7
take
minutes.
20 minutes for every meal because that's how long it takes for your stomach to feel full. And
Yeah.
I never take 20 minutes to eat.
I do, but I'm eating the whole time.
Right. That's because you just have so much to eat.
There's so much to eat. It's terrible. Full-time job just to eat.
Man.
But you can eat too. Another thing is eat till you're 80% full. So like we said, eat slowly. Eat till you're satisfied, not till you're stuffed. That's an easy one. You just kind of feel what it feels like to be kind of full, and then wait 10 minutes, and then see how you feel. Like, if I'm not full in 10 minutes, maybe I'll eat a little bit more. But generally, like when you take that break, then you feel better. So there's little things you can do as far as like just how you eat, when you eat, and we can go into more detail at any time. So just reach out to us. We're more than glad to help. You have anything else?
No, I'm kind of hungry.
We're going to go eat snacks.
Snack time.
All right, guys. Take it easy, and I love you.